Trey, what's going on, dude? Let's see. I can't hear you for some reason. Let's see. We will figure this out. There we go.
You can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
All right, perfect.
Well, first time using StreamYard. We're going to figure this out. At least we can both talk to each other now.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. So I know we're jamming out. There's no viewers on here right now, but hopefully we can just edit the beginning. Because some people, you know, they click on and watch on these lives too. You know, it's a nice little podcast in the back of their ears so they can actually learn about something, you know, to and from work or whatever it may be.
Oh, you know.
But today we're going to jam out on investing in real estate, dude.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah. So first and foremost, something that I want to just get really clear for the people that are watching this, and I know eventually some people are going to join from the whole YouTube channel. Investing in real estate doesn't make you wealthy. It grows your wealth. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
To just get that right off the bat, a lot of people are like, oh man, I'm going to buy a house with 1% down, and then I'm going to flip them and get 10 houses on credit. And then all of a sudden I'm going to get rich. It's a really good way to go bankrupt. That's literally how Dave Ramsey went bankrupt.
Yeah. The problem is it costs so much for each one that it just takes a good bit of money to get started.
Exactly. But the nice thing is when it comes down to it, it is the number one go-to for people to be able to build wealth.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with that.
Oh, yeah. And I had a blog post a while back. This is just what I was saying. With all the headlines circulating around home prices and mortgage rates, you may be asking yourself if it still makes sense to buy a home right now and if it's better to keep renting. Here's some information that could put your mind at ease. So Gallup.com had an article out that said real estate has been crowned the top long-term investment for a whopping 12 years in a row. Long story short, you know, real estate voted for the best long-term investment. 36% for real estate, 22% for stock/mutual funds, 18% for gold, 13% for savings account, 4% bonds, and 3% cryptocurrency. So it's always, always, always ranked number one for the best long-term.
So what do you want to go over here? You want to do like some pros and cons of investment?
I guess we can, but also too, like, how does somebody even get started when it comes to investing in real estate? Because it's kind of scary, isn't it? When you all of a sudden, you know, a lot of people's dream is to be a homeowner. The average first-time home buyer is 33 years old. How in the world is somebody just supposed to have multiple properties? How are you supposed to make money getting multiple properties? Where do you even start?
I think you have to hang out with the right people.
Exactly.
You got to know somebody who either has worked with investors or is an investor themselves that's been doing it for a while, and just pick their brain and see how did they get started. Obviously, you want to make sure it's somebody who's successful at investing in real estate, but pick their brain, see how they got started, see what kind of stuff they can tell you to do to get started and not to blow all your money, you know.
Exactly. Because dude, there's so many like articles and short form videos out there all day long telling people like, oh yeah, just throw all of your life savings at this one thing. It's guaranteed to make you money. I mean, especially with interest rates the way that they are, inflation the way that it is, dude, freaking groceries. The wife and I literally had like 3 bags of groceries yesterday. It was over $75.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know about you, but you know, 10, 20, 30, $40,000 to get started doing a rental property. That'd be freaking terrifying. So I guess we can kind of go over like, where do you start? Who do you need to know? And like, where do I put my first dollars when investing in the first property? Now, first and foremost, there's a bunch of different methods when it comes down to investing in real estate and everything else like that. But really at the end of the day, you got 3 options. You can buy to rent out long-term or short-term, right? Long-term would just be, you know, 6, 12 months at a time per tenant. You know, short-term is Airbnb. Number two, you buy and flip. You pocket that capital. Or number three, you buy and hold. Meaning that yes, you can rent it out as well, but your main goal is to make money on the buy, meaning that you bought at, let's say, $100,000 and you're going to sell at $200,000 at X days down the road. And then you have to worry about capital gains tax. And then you have to worry about 1031 tax codes to be able to roll that in.
You know they're going to get their tax money.
Yeah.
They got to get that off the top.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, what do you think the safest way to invest in real estate is?
Well, like I was saying, I think you need to have somebody on your side that knows what they're doing, whether it be an agent or whether it be somebody that has been investing in real estate for a while. That way you can kind of get a feel for what would be a good investment and, like you said, the starting place of where you want to invest. So for me, location is always key. So with us being here in Middle Georgia, the Air Force Base is a great thing for us here as far as the rental market, because it keeps people coming in, keeps people going out. So you always have vacancies and you always have people looking for rentals. So if you can find a spot like that, I think that would be a great spot to start and at least look there and see what you can find and see if you can find a good deal. If you can, great, go for it. But you just have to have a system in place. I think, with anything, you've got to have a good system in place.
Absolutely. I'm just adding a comment there. If anybody ever has any questions, just, throw them into the chat. But yeah, man, when it comes down to it, now this is the problem about fix and flips, man. There's all these YouTube videos out there telling people like, hey, you can do it yourself. You can just buy a property and you can fix it and flip yourself. I honestly think, right, what you're talking about, location, where do we live? Warner Robins Air Force Base, largest industrial complex here in the state of Georgia. And am I echoing, by the way?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Thought I heard myself. The largest industrial complex in Georgia. And what has happened over the last however many years this base has been here? It's a real estate bubble. Doesn't matter what the economy is doing. Doesn't matter what's going on when it comes down to investments. It's always protected. Home prices haven't crashed. Why? Because people have to live here because of work. So when it comes down to investing in a location, man, this is literally like the best long-term rental market in the game currently in the United States. I know obviously I'm biased when it comes down to it, but dude, tenants, most likely military members, take care of their stuff, have to be here for at least 4 years, before they PCS again. And rental prices continue to go up. But the nice thing is the barrier to entry for a rental property, I mean, you're looking at anywhere between $175,000 and $275,000 when you go off in the United States and the average home price is already up at $360,000. You're saving some cash.
Yeah. And it just goes back to cost of living too. If you can find an area where the cost of living is lower than other places, and you do have something like the Air Force Base or a big hospital or something like that, that always keeps people coming in and out, then I would say that would be a great place to invest.
Absolutely. And I guess when you find that right place to invest, what type of home are you looking for when you're looking for an investment? Because let's just be realistic and honest with ourselves. There are people all over the United States that will just throw cash anywhere that they can pick up a property. So like, how do you strategically get a property when there's so much competition?
Well, I think that comes with having a great agent and having their negotiation skills and being able to show you, okay, this is the situation. This is what I think we should do. And then you can kind of take that advice for whatever you will, and then go about doing it that way. So for me, like I said, location is the first thing I would look for. And then second, I would look for a house that's going to keep me in that price range for the rental where a majority of people are going to be.
Yeah.
So if you have a decently priced rental, then around here, you probably shouldn't ever have any vacancies, because there's always people looking for rental homes. So I think the price is going to be a big part of it, because there's not very many people that want to spend, $3,000 a month on a rental. You can you can buy a good house for $300,000 or $3,000 a month. So I think keeping that price point where people can afford it, but it's still a decent home, would be a great place to start.
Absolutely. So why don't we just run through a scenario here really quick? Let's say I am a first-time investor. I live here, let's just say hypothetically Warner Robins. I want to stay local. I'm super strict that like I just want a rental property in this area. I keep seeing home prices, on rentals go from like 1,200 a month to 13 to 14. I'm seeing 16, 17, $1,800 a month on rentals. I want in the game. Trey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I have $20,000 to $30,000 to put down, and I've been living in my home for at least 2 years, so I can get a second mortgage. What do I do? Where do I start? Where do I look?
Well, so there's specific areas that I would look, and a lot of times the school zones are going to have a lot to do with where people pick to live. So, in my mind, I'm going to look for somewhere here in the local area that's close to the Air Force Base, has a good school zone, good programs, sports programs and stuff like that. And that's where I would start. And then what we're going to do is we would just go out and take a look at these homes, kind of go in depth while we're there, see what they may need as far as repairs or anything like that, because that's just more money that you're going to have to spend on top of what you're already going to spend with the closing costs and the down payment and all that kind of stuff. So if it's got a lot of repairs, we've got to kind of take that into an account and make sure that we're not paying too much for the home, or do we want to just move on to something else that doesn't have all those repairs, and just be good to go turnkey. So that's where I'd say we would start. We'd look at some houses. We would see which ones don't need as many repairs, or if you can get a good deal on one that needs repairs and you're okay making repairs, then that might be the best deal for you. But
Yeah,
it's really just checking off what you're wanting and what you think the tenants are going to be wanting.
exactly.
I would probably stick with, a smaller. If this was my first investment property, I'd probably stick with something smaller, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home right here in the Fagan Mill area or somewhere like that with a good school.
There we go. Exactly. And something else to take into consideration, interest rates, man. Last time I checked, 6.48%. And then when it comes down to a rental property, it might be a little bit more than that.
Right.
Understand when you invest in real estate right now, you most likely aren't going to be making cash flow. So you got to be really careful on the property, right? Remember when we first started this off, we're talking about like our key players. Got to know a good home appraiser, got to know a good home inspector, right? Because that home inspector is going to save your life. New roof, new water heater, new HVAC system can break your legs off. Raj, really awesome real estate investor that I know. He's really, really high up at Amazon. Guy has so much money. It's ridiculous. And he's in a weird like real estate, like little investing syndicate up in Atlanta, and all of his buddies put together millions of dollars and buy commercial properties. I helped him buy just a residential property over in Perry. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath, like 2,000 square feet, perfect little rental home, right? Got the home inspection. However, home inspection turned out good, but guess what happened? Even though the HVAC system was serviced, everything popped up great on the report, and a trusted inspector checked it. HVAC system broke like 2 weeks after he bought it. Had to drop 9 grand out of his pocket. If this is your first time investing in a property, do you have $9,000 sitting around for something that could break? Better
Right.
have a good home warranty. And guess what? Raj didn't want one. He's like, I'm not spending $600.
Dang.
You know?
And that's something I was going to say when you were talking about. I know we're not on flipping, but some that goes along the same lines. Like, you just never know what you're going to get when you pull that sheetrock off the wall, or you go to repair
Mhm.
something and then something else messed up, and then that leads to something else. So whether it's flipping or just rentals or whatever the case may be, I feel like you need to make sure you've got a good cushion there. So if something does come up, you're prepared to pay the money to have it fixed. Because
You
if you
have
have
to.
tenants in your home and the AC goes out, you have no option but to fix it.
No, and guess what? Especially when you're a landlord for the first time, what happens when the AC goes out at 11 PM in August here in Georgia? Guess
They're
who's
gonna,
going out to go take a look at that
yeah,
house?
they're gonna
You.
call you.
And if you don't want to be your own landlord, what's that? 10 to 12% out of your pocket every single month?
Yep.
All your cash flow right there, potentially with interest rates. So when it comes down to it, you really have to be strategic when you do purchase long-term real estate holds to be able to figure out what doesn't make sense. Because I'll tell you guys a quick little story. I have an uncle. He is a real estate broker owner up in Michigan. and he bought about 40 properties. They're all $30,000 to $40,000 each, about 15 years ago. Maybe it's even longer than that. Geez, like 08, 09. And he ended up just paying all cash for them. $30,000 to $40,000 each, by the way. No cash flow at all. Nobody would buy him. Right after, everything crashes, people thought he was insane. Do you know what he just liquidated all those properties for?
I can't even imagine at this
Like
point.
$4.5 million.
Yeah.
Every property was like 250, 260. So even though he didn't make money every single month, his strategic plan when it came down to investing in real estate was, I'm making money on the buy. What does that mean? What is the long-term of that said property, right? Because you can do long-term, short-term rentals and hope that you make some cash flow. With interest rates, just being honest, it's really not there right now if that's where you're trying to make money. Number two, fix and flip. Not getting political or anything like that. This is just legitimate information. One of Kamala Harris's policies is she wants to increase capital gains tax from like 23, 24% to 44%. Just to let you know, if you want to sell, because I did this math and I watched a Grant Cardone video the other day. If a family wanted to sell their $450,000 home and make the same amount of money, if they own that house 100%, $450,000 of equity, if that law gets passed, they would have to sell that property for $678,000 to pocket the same amount of money in their checking account if she gets into office.
Oh, and by the way, she also wants to charge you 25% on unrealized capital gains, which means if you own a home and they want to say that it's worth $50,000 more this year than it was last year, then you're going to have to pay 25% of that 50 grand to the government. And you don't even see it. You haven't sold the house. You haven't done anything with it, but they still want to charge you 25% on unrealized capital gains. And that is nuts.
But what people don't realize and what the government doesn't realize is that 25%, that's repair costs, that's labor, that's acquiring the deal, that's down payment, that's all that stuff. What are people going to do?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they're basically pricing people out of homes. I mean, nobody can afford that on top of what you're trying to charge 50% on the other. Like, come on. That's wild.
It doesn't make sense.
That is wild.
Yeah, so that's something, you have to think about too when it comes down to it. So that's going to really obliterate a lot of people that fix and flip.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, like me, for example, the BRRR method, right? That's something that I'm, my portfolio will look like, and I will have hundreds of homes stacked up by the time I die. I can either dive into what the BRRRR method is, or you can.
Go for it.
So what you do is you buy a property. Right now, you don't have to have all cash. Me, I'm kind of weird. I kind of got that. Unfortunately, they want you to own nothing. Dusty, let's talk about that for a second, okay? Before we get into the BRRRR method. But seriously, what happens when the people don't own anything, right? Can anybody guess this? All you have to do is look back to every culture and history every 250 years. Complete control. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You can control people that don't own anything. When they all get paid the same amount of money, when their healthcare is all the same, no matter how hard that we work, it's no longer a capital country. What happens? They get full power. But that never works. Never, ever, ever.
Be anarchy at that point.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So back to what you were saying.
Yeah. So the BRRRR method is buying, renovating, renting, refinancing, and repeating. So going through it, you buy a property, you're going to put some money into renovating it. You're then going to rent that property out long-term, 6 to 12 months at a time per lease, hopefully longer, depending on the type of tenants that you can find here in the middle Georgia area. With a lot of military members, it's not going to be an issue. Refinance it so that you can pull your money back out. And then you repeat the process and you put that money that you just refinanced back into that next deal. Now, you got to know what you're doing. What's up, Mitch, dude? I'll send you a link if you want to hop in here, man. And what you do is you just
send him a link.
Yeah, send him a link, dog. Here, let me send him one really quick. And what you end up doing is all of that money that you keep sacking, you keep putting into the next property. And what ends up happening with this over time is you continue to stack your portfolio, but it's the very, very safe way of doing it. And the reason you need to be safe with it is, okay, yeah, sure. Property one, you might only have one property for the first 2, 3, 4 years, depending on how much extra money you're putting aside to save for these down payments. Number two, but then guess what? After year 3, you get your second property. A year later, you get your third. 8 months later, you get your fourth. 4 months later, you get your fifth. 2 months later, you get your sixth. Next month, next month, next month, every 3 weeks, as much as you want, because all the cash flow that you make from those properties, pray that interest rates go back down. You can then start stacking properties in a safe way. And the nice thing is, all the cash flow that you're making, you're putting these into different areas. So you have the money that goes to you, you have money for repair, you have money for insurance, you have money for like the unexpected costs. You have different categories. So let's say worst case scenario, one tenant completely destroys your kitchen and it just needs a renovation because they let a dog pee all over it and it's just torn up. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt for a guy that I was helping. He was devastated. We both walked in at the same time. Somebody was peeing in the corner, somebody was dipping in the other corner, and they tore up all the carpet and the cabinets were all over the floor.
Oh, man.
You just never know. But if you have those accounts collected, for the rainy day fund, you can seriously, protect and save yourself. So even if you have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 properties and you're like, crap, I just got hit with one, your entire portfolio is not getting destroyed. You're not having to sell something to liquidate.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to having a game plan.
Absolutely.
Know what you're going to do if something does come up.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Hopefully these cameras aren't all going weird. There we go. I don't think Mitch is joining.
I don't think they are.
There we go. It's the first time using this. I'm going to build it out. Hey guys, do you want us to manage your channel for exponential growth? Silver play button, bro? Who would that be? That'd be wild. But hey, while we have, so many people on the call, does anybody have any questions about real estate, local middle Georgia area? What's it look like to invest? Anything like that? I really, Trey, I think it'd be really cool to be able to get a group together in person. There, Mitch is. Get a group of people together in person. We can have a home inspector, home appraiser, like people that we actually trust, and the right financing people and stuff in place to really, show what a good team would look like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe even make it an event or something.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at Mitch.
Look at Mitch.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, man?
Yeah. I'm trying to move these around.
Got the old kiddos in the background, so more than likely they're going to barge in that door here at any point.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. I was wondering if you could hear my kids in the background. I'm upstairs, but they're down there screaming as loud as they possibly can.
Sounds about right.
You're clear, man. You're good.
Oh, yeah. And hey, Robert, great point you bring up there. A good property manager is always a good idea opposed to trying to do it yourself. Go over the differences, boys, of what happens when you try to do it yourself versus having a good property manager. And by the way, just I'll try to be nice. I don't even care if people are watching this that, trying to get me sued and get my license taken away. There's some trash property managers here in the local area. Okay. Some of which don't even have their property management licenses and they're accepting houses in clients. Not going to get into that one. Don't need anybody falling over. Just saying. Trey, was it you or your wife that managed thousands of properties?
So that was my wife. She managed, it was probably about 500 or so houses at a brokerage here in town.
Here you go. Break that down for everybody. What does property management 101?
Well, so you could probably do it yourself if you had one, maybe two properties, but anything past that, there's just so much that goes along with it. I mean, she was basically doing the job of 3 people. So it's taking care of any maintenance, move outs, inspections, pictures, collecting rents, making sure everything is paid, deposits, having an escrow account for those deposits. It's just a lot of stuff that goes into property management that people don't really know about, and they think they're just going to buy a home and put it on the market, rent it out, and that's it. But there's so much other stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows about, and once you get into it, it's too late. You know, you've got the homes, you're going to have to manage them, or you can get them with somebody that does manage properties. So but there's just systems that you have to have in order to keep multiple properties organized. And really, it just comes down to attention to detail. So move in inspections, move out inspections, taking pictures, making sure that they're not tearing your stuff up, and which a lot of times that does happen. So
Unfortunately,
you need
yeah.
to take into account making repairs, getting people out there, scheduling with the tenants, all that kind of stuff. So it's really best if you're going to have more than one or two properties that you're wanting to get, then I would say just go ahead and bite the bullet. Have somebody manage those properties for you that knows what they're doing, and investigate these people. Like I hate to say it like that, but dig deep and find out. Like, look at reviews, talk to people that they've managed their properties and stuff like that to make sure that there's somebody you want to use.
Absolutely. Dude, Mitch, while we got you on here, man, when it comes down to investing in real estate, do you mind giving the people watching kind of like a quick little breakdown what it looks like? Because when you buy a home, loan approval, everything is completely different than investment properties.
Yeah, so it actually all depends on what route you want to go, right? So a typical investor, if it depends on what their goals are, there's a couple different avenues, right? If you're an investor that's purely focused on cash flow, you're going to want to make sure the rate is competitive, and you're also going to want to make sure that the payment, you know, what you can get for rent is a lot more than what your mortgage is. And so,
Yeah.
but a lot of people use investment as, you know, like tax write-offs. And so if you have multiple properties, you can have a savvy CPA, you know, do your taxes for you, and then, you know, go whatever loophole you want to go through. But on my end, either you can provide your documentation, go the normal route, get a normal investment loan, in which that just looks like, hey, you fill out a questionnaire, you upload your income documents, you upload your, you know, bank statements, we review all that. If it looks good, then hey, you're good for a normal loan. Or if you want to go the path of least resistance, there's what's called the DSCR loan, or debt service coverage ratio.
Okay.
And that all that you know means is if the rent is greater than or equal to the mortgage, if you have 2 months of bank statements that have the assets in there, and you have a driver's license, social security card, that's it.
Not bad.
And so, yeah, it's super simple. And right now, you know, fun fact, the rate range on those for, you know, 20 to 25% down is anywhere from like 6.5 to 7. And there's, you know, there's lenders that have those rates for actual provided income documents. And so there's definitely ways to get a competitive rate in this market, find good deals, and, you know, increase your portfolio.
Absolutely. A question popped up: taking on clients as a property manager if you're not licensed. So when it comes down to property management, number one, you got to have a real estate license. And number two, you're going to take a secondary course on property management. And then you can go out and do it on your own. You can start an LLC, you can join a company, stuff like that. But if you're not, you are committing an illegal act, and it will bite you. We're kind of just making a joke because Trey and I know somebody that's doing that.
It's not just a real estate license. Technically, you're supposed to have a broker's license if you're going to manage properties on your own, under your own company. So what happens is sometimes you have people who will try to partner up with someone else who has their broker's license and then do the property management that way. But which sometimes the brokerage will let you, and other times they won't. So yeah, I just know that.
Yeah, underneath a managing broker. Yeah. So that was a funny little thing.
So,
yeah, just can't be doing that stuff. Tisk.
Maybe
I feel like I'm missing something.
One day we'll have
like I'm missing something.
Oh yeah, there we go, man. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about, I guess, earlier. So first and foremost, finding the right people in the game, right? It's not always about what you know, it's who you know. And let's just be honest with ourselves. I'm somebody that always wants to learn from someone that knows more than me, right? Always go to the person that's been where you want to go. So when it comes down to investing in properties, you honestly find somebody that has 50, 60, 70, 80 single family homes. If you want to get
Absolutely.
into, I know people that are a part of trailer parks, that people that just buy and hold land, commercial, they do lease deals. I'm a part of a group that is called the War Room Mastermind. It's veterans only. There's like 250 of us. You literally have to pay $5,000 to get in. It's like a lifetime membership. We have squads. We meet on Wednesday nights to talk about real estate investing. And your squad is a group of individuals that are investing in what you want to invest. There's commercial, there's trailer parks, there's everything. That's so funny, dude. There's
There
all
she
this kind of
is.
stuff. And the group that I'm in is for the long-term rentals.
Where you going?
So you got to find someone that is where you want to be and just do what they do, right? They're most likely not going to steer you in the wrong direction, because if somebody's ahead of where you're at, they want to see you win as well. The only people that ever turn you down, make fun of you, or say that you're not good enough are people that aren't where you're even at, right? They're trying to hold you back. So getting in those right real estate groups, and if anybody wants any information on local groups and stuff like that, honestly, we should start our own and just get the top savages here in Middle Georgia, people that own over 100 properties, and do kind of a session like this, but like a how-to, and then just do Q&A, and you can talk to the people.
Right. So, Mitch, we've got a question here. It says, with the potential of interest rates going down, would you recommend an ARM right now? Adjustable rate.
That's actually a solid question, right? So, with where we're at in the Federal Reserve and what they're inching to do, as bad as this sounds, typically when the economy does worse, mortgage rates tend to come down. And unfortunately, if you saw last week, they revised, how many jobs were currently made, down by almost 820,000. So the market's doing a lot less when it comes to jobs. Now, it's totally personal preference. That's more of a, hey, I'm just going to throw this out, throw a random thing. If you're getting an ARM at, say, 6%, and you think the Fed's going to cut rates, well, ARMs follow that prime rate that the Fed follows. So if they cut that, then typically you're going to see, that follow as well. So it's more of a, hey, save, pennies on your mortgage payment per month with an ARM, and with the gamble on if they're going to go down later on. Or, hey, do what over 90% of people do in the U.S. and get a fixed rate loan, whereas other countries don't even allow that. And so it's
because you can always refinance that loan if interest rates go down.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, so between the top three, right? So conventional, FHA, VA. For conventional, if you have a 7% now, and say the Fed lowers the rates and the mortgage rates follow, then you go down to a 5%. You're locking in that 5%. You're happy with the mortgage payment. It's not going to change, even if rates do tend to go up, or if they go down. It's not going to be a big change. Excuse me. Pause.
You all right up there, Mitch?
Kids went back to school and brought home some colds. So
that's typical.
Yeah. So anyway, the rates aren't going to change much if the Fed rate follows. But going from good Lord, man, I can't talk right now. If you go from a 7% to a 5%,
drink some water, homie. Jeez.
I don't have any.
Take a pause. We'll come right back.
Okay, bro.
All right, we're good. I think. Going from a 7% to a 5%, that is a drastic change on the monthly payment, and you lock that in, you're good to go, right? You don't got to worry about it fluctuating. So it's more of a personal preference.
There we go. Next question on the list. The smartest guy in real estate, Middle Georgia. I appreciate that. Thank you. If I could give you a hug, I would. Shout out. Appreciate that. Next question is from Keith. I have a single rental property under LLC. Mute Mitch. Gee,
yeah, we're going to mute him.
Can you guys describe what the steps look like to move forward and build my portfolio with more properties, pulling equity and down payment percentage requirements? There we go. I guess we can start from the top, describing what the steps look like to move forward and build my portfolio with more properties. Keith, when it comes down to single rental property underneath your LLC, first and foremost, what is the current price of that property and how much do you have in savings for, not like total savings, but savings for your real estate investments? Because when it comes down to that, to be able to build your properties and pulling equity and down payment percentage requirements, that's a question for Mitch. I play real safe auto. Like I am just really conservative when it comes down to stuff. Because real estate for me, when it comes down to buying properties, is how I'm growing my wealth over time for my retirement. Like not putting my money into a 401k. I put my money into what I know. And when it comes down to investing in real estate long term, that's my safe play. That's my 20, 30, 40. I don't even care if I make any money from it right now. I want millions of dollars saved up for my retirement, never have to work another day in my life, not have to worry about what the economy's doing. None of that. I have it. But I like investing my money in how can I make more money to put into real estate. He says, it's 40K, worth about 150-ish, have 10K saved. Keith, you are in a juicy position right now.
Yeah, you're in a juicy spot, my guy.
Oh, yeah.
You're good to go.
Oh, yeah. But when it comes down to that, Trey, what advice do you have for him to grow his portfolio, especially here in the local area?
Well, basically it would just be, again, location. Where do you want to buy? And once you have that location or that area, then let's get out, take a look at what your options are, see what they look like, whether you're going to have to make repairs or maybe you find something in that price range that you're looking for that you don't have to make repairs. So I would say let's start off by finding where you want to expand to, let's say like that. And then once we know that area, then we'll really dive into seeing what you're looking to do as far as your portfolio is concerned. Do you want to buy multiple properties over there? Are you going to just get one and move on to another location? So there's just a lot of things that go into it. And Keith, you already know, if you want to have a chat about that, we can anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And really 2 more parts. I'll finish off on this and then Mitch needs to finish the, when it comes down to pulling equity and down payment percentage.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes down to growing your portfolio, what I recommend is buying properties over time, 3 to 4 bedroom within driving distance of Warner Robins Air Force Base, south of Highway 96. Don't get my real estate license taken away. I'm going to give you a little overview of the market.
Why?
You don't buy today, you buy for the future. Warner Robins is projected to 4x in size over the next 10 years. It's going to get pretty busy. They're working on building a downtown. The mayor's already pulled together over $9 million and bought property. It's currently getting built out. There's some beautiful little areas if you want storefronts, if you're a business owner that are going there. However, my money going to 3 places: Kathleen, Bonaire, and Perry. Specifically Perry. Perry is going to have a big renovation. It's a nice small town. You can walk downtown, but they're building a lot of properties. Property value as of right now, average home price in Perry, Georgia is $296,000 per home, continuing to go up year after year like crazy. And that's my bet. If I had everything worth it, I'm throwing all my money there and I'm buying single family rental homes, 3 to 4 bedrooms each in Perry. Furthest distance is 24 minutes away from Robins Air Force Base. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, their big old warehouse is opening up in Perry. That's bringing a bunch of jobs. You got Bluebird. You have all of these people that need homes, and that's where I'd put my money into. So when it comes down to it, Keith, I would recommend looking for 3 to 4 bedroom homes. Obviously stuff that doesn't have a huge lawn, checking the water heater, HVAC system, roof, getting a good home inspection, and making sure that those are good locations within Perry, within the right school systems. Best school systems in Perry, got Perry High School. When it comes down to it, I would say King's Chapel for elementary. There's a really nice private school over there. And then you have 2 options when it comes down to middle schools that are going to be both good. Perry Middle School, still a great middle school. And then you have, what's that second middle school over there?
I'm blanking it too.
But as long as you stay out of, really, dude, there's really hardly any bad areas in Perry. I was a police officer there for over a year. There's a couple neighborhoods on your way to downtown if you're on 127 heading south. But outside of that, and then kind of staying outside of, you know, the area on the way to the fairgrounds, between downtown and the fairgrounds, that place is a little hard when it comes down to it. And what I'm saying is they're homes that were built in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and there's no new construction. And you really want new construction homes around your properties or new neighborhoods coming in that will help boost your value, because builders aren't going to come in unless they're going to be getting more value for their homes. You know, for example, my neighborhood over here in Byron, we got our house for $386,000. Homes that are the same size or even smaller than ours are currently getting built for $420,000, $430,000. And I got it like 2 years ago. So you always want to know what's being built around you, and is the homes that are being built in more value, making that property more expensive. Now, Mitch, when it comes down to pulling equity for a down payment requirement, how do you do that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. It's my fault, guys. Sorry about the coughing earlier. My headset wasn't the audio device; it was another device. So, all right. So I have a single. The question was pulling equity of the property that's worth, you owe 40 and it's worth 150.
Yeah, he just wants to know what it looks like to pull the equity and what the down payment percentage is required on the investment property.
Okay, so that's another way that you can go a couple different routes. So you have home equity line of credit, and the caveat with that is that you're not doing a full cash out refinance to get those funds. You're just doing a simple home equity line of credit where you get those funds, it's principal and interest, and then you have your draw period where it's you pay interest only. So you have that cash flow there on whatever you need. So you can either do a home equity line of credit on your investment property, or you can do a cash out refinance, whatever numbers make sense to you. And then once you have those funds, if you're going to look to buy a new property, it's 20% down plus the closing costs, unless the seller covers some of them.
Which will work on that.
Exactly.
There we go. I think there's another question coming in.
Okay.
Let's see. When is living in Middle Georgia and grow mortgage through getting a joint office? That's a great question. That's a great question. Mitch, what are your thoughts on this?
You go put me on blast.
You're in the hot seat, my guy.
That's a good question. We we're in talks, we're in the works. It's a future thing that's being drawn out, No set date at the moment.
Yeah. Well, this is just me talking. Okay. At the end of the day, if I'm a home buyer, seller, investor, like I just want to be able to go somewhere, jam out, talk to people, and just get told the honest information. You know what I mean? Like I hate how you have to bounce around, check Google, check reviews, figure out like who do I talk to, and then try to piece all this stuff together. You know what I mean? Like I just want to be able to do a one-stop shop, walk in somewhere and get stuff done. Like why does the government get in people's ways of protecting them? That's what makes me so mad. If Mitch is the best loan officer here in Middle Georgia, and biasly, I feel like we're the best agents just because I eat, sleep this, and I want to make sure that you're protected. Like, why can't they just like walk into a single building and then just get taken care of?
Right.
There we go.
I think that does need to happen though soon.
I agree. Anybody else have any questions when it comes down to
we already have it drawn up on AI.
Yeah, AI, dude.
We have the rendering.
It is pretty crazy how that happens. Just off the top of my head, because I'm a data nerd searching stuff, there are so many people searching for investing in Macon, Georgia, compared to any other place. I think that's just because a lot of people see that as a major city. Pros and cons versus the two areas here versus Macon when it comes down to investment properties.
Well, without saying too much, I mean, you know what the difference is. So, I mean, Macon is a little different than Warner Robins or Bonaire, Kathleen, Perry, all those places. You can buy a home in a great neighborhood and take two turns, and you never know. So,
hey, Mitch, I need you to check the screen out here real quick. When is Mitch gonna grow a beard?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still in the Air Force. I have to shave every month. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, my guy.
But anyways,
You're
like
on
I
the
was
guard.
saying, I would definitely stick with, you know, the Warner Robins, Bonaire, Kathleen, Perry area. You're just going to have a better experience there as far as an investor is concerned. Um, Not saying there aren't great opportunities in Macon, there are, but in my opinion, they're going to cost you a little more money than what it's going to cost here in Warner Robins to get into those, and you're probably
Yeah.
going to have to make some repairs and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like here in Warner Robins, Bonaire, Kathleen, and Perry, you know, you can find some decent homes that would be a great rental property that aren't really going to cost you that much. And I mean, as least as possible, anyways.
Yeah.
So
It's just, yeah.
that's my personal opinion. That's what I would do. I would stay in Houston County, and that would be where I bought all of my rental properties.
Yeah.
Perry, like you said, Perry is up and coming. I mean,
Mhm.
they're already revamping the downtown area. You've got several great restaurants down there, several great boutiques and places to shop, and
New
they
video
do the
coming soon.
farmers market, and they've got food truck Fridays, and they do, you know, all kinds of events and stuff. So I think that's going to be a really hot area in the next year or two, and I see everything moving out that way.
Absolutely. And I've been here for 5 years. You've been here your entire life. Macon kind of confuses me. We'll go there for some nice restaurants. There's some areas that are so scary, like I don't even feel comfortable with a gun. There's other places that are like, I didn't know there's multi-million-dollar mansions here in
Yeah.
a lake. You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird area that doesn't really have anything specific. You know, like
Right.
when you think of a certain town, you can say a certain word. You know what I mean? Like Perry, I think of Paradise, you know, like it's just a
Yeah.
nice, comfortable, safe place for the family. When I think of Byron, I think of country, you know, space, farm fields. When I think of Warner Robins, I think of Air Force Base City with all the restaurants and stuff that I need. When I think of Macon, it's kind of like a blob. There's just so much going on. Like the thing is, there's so many different areas. Every neighborhood is
And
different
it's
from
all
another.
mixed together. Like it's not like one thing's here and one thing's over here. It's like everything is jumbled up together. And
Yeah.
it's just weird. It is.
Don't forget that you got to drive like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get from one side of Macon to the other side.
Dude, and the traffic's getting horrific, dude. And
Yeah.
also on your way down 75, dude, that construction's been going on for like 3 years. It's always bottlenecked. Like, I don't know about you. If I could live in the middle of nowhere and never have traffic ever again, I would.
Yeah. Or
And
neighbors.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah. But real quick, everybody that's watching, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching this.
Yeah,
This is our
for
second
sure.
live. I want to make these more structured. Like, it would be cool if like we have a mission. Does anybody have any recommendations for maybe next week? I was maybe thinking, you know, because obviously talking about real estate can get really boring sometimes. This is what we do for a living, so we make it way more exciting than it actually is, and we can actually talk about it. But like, what do people need? Like, do we need to go over a full session on what does it look like to buy a house in 2024 and how do I break the legs off of sellers?
Yeah.
Or, you know, when it comes to selling my house, how do I get so much media coverage and so much viewers that I get more money than it's actually worth?
I think
Or
you would call us.
yeah. Well, what I'm coming down to is like we can just jam out and go really over anything. But these are going to be coming every week. So if people are going to be joining, I want to make sure that we're actually talking about stuff that people need.
And we're going to find a better way to blast it out there too, and make sure that everybody knows that this is happening. And
Yeah.
so share it, you know, and tell your friends about it. And y'all join us every Thursday at 7:00.
Oh yeah. And finish it out. Mitch, do you have any questions? Anything that you want to go over off the top of your head that you think about when it comes down to investing or something that people might need to know?
I'll be honest, I don't have too much off the top of my head because y'all put me on blast and was like, hey, get in here. And I was outside and just finished up a call. So,
Yeah.
so I was like, hey, I'm going to support the homies. And
well, we appreciate that.
in. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, man. But I guess we just do a quick little recap and then we can sign off. Investing in real estate, it's not going to make you rich. It's going to grow the money that you already have. It's a very, very safe way. The number one investment that everybody does. I can even share my screen here really quick. Actually, let's see. I'm going to share my screen and show this. show this little blog here really quick on my website. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh yeah.
So this is from Gallup. Gallup is a really, really trusted source. I can send you guys the link if you want. Long story short, for 12 years in a row, real estate has been voted the #1 best long-term investment, then stocks, then gold, then savings accounts and CDs, bonds, and then crypto. This is updated for now. And this is where the majority of millionaires lie. Now, the majority of billionaires are in private equity, but I don't know about you. I don't plan on becoming a billionaire. There's only 2,000 in the world. Okay. When it comes down to becoming a millionaire, especially through real estate, isn't as difficult as you think, but it's a long-term play and you have to be patient. You got to play it safe, auto, and you got to be careful. But when it comes down to it, if you're looking to invest in Middle Georgia, long-term rentals are the name of the game. There's a lot of laws going on with short-term rentals. And if you do want to do short-term rentals, get something that has parking that can have a long, big old trailer by the fairgrounds in Perry, because people are going over there all the time. They have to bring their horse trailers. They're always doing barrel racing, pig shows, cattle shows, whatever it may be. But I honestly think in the area, long-term rentals is the name of the game. How do you do that? First and foremost, Mitch, on average, what is the average down payment that you need for a rental property?
Standard 20%.
Standard 20%. Why is that? Because, for example, the average first-time home buyer in America puts 6% down. The average multiple time, puts 13% down. So why is it 20% for an investor instead of everybody else?
If you are a first-time home buyer, seasoned home buyer looking to buy a primary home, that's why those numbers are averaged that way, because the minimum primary home is anywhere from, like, if you're a first-time home buyer going conventional, you only need 3% down. If you're a first-time home buyer using FHA, you only need 3.5. If it's VA or USDA, you don't need any. And so that's why those are lower, because the stigma, is that the word for it? That a lot of people think you need 20% down for primary, but no. If you're going investment, like lenders and investors want to see that, hey, you have that little bit of skin in the game, and it also limits the like you won't have PMI, and so then that removes that, which then increases your cash flow, and that's what investors like to see, because they're like, oh, hey, well, if this is an investment property and you're not really getting too much out of it, we want to see that you're going to be able to make those back. But there's different ways around it. So, like, say for example, you lived in, you're from Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in Ohio. Say you live there currently, and you're looking to buy a house in Middle Georgia. If you're looking to buy a house in Middle Georgia and you have family here, or you have some other circumstance, there's a lake, there's a beach or something, you can buy that house for 10% down and use it as a second home. That would still be classified as an investment, because you can use it as an investment, but you just have to occupy it for a certain amount of time throughout the year to be a second home. So then you get in the weeds of like, hey, that's a little bit less down, that helps me save a little bit of money up front and go from there.
There you go. So when it comes to that, a few other financial things that you're going to have to look into or take into consideration. Let's just say, for example, 20%. Let's say that you're going to pay a $200,000 home. It's $40,000 that you're going to be putting off to the side for a down payment. Now, what about closing costs when it comes down to a buyer? What are we doing when it comes down to it, right? You have appraisal, you're going to pay for an inspection, but that's going to be out of pocket. Like, what are my all-in expenses? Let's say for a $200,000 home, it's a 4-bed, 2-bath, Perry, Georgia.
So that's going to depend completely on the property. People text me all the time, hey, what's my payment look like on $350,000 house? Well, I don't know. The same $350,000 house on this block could be different than this block, because taxes and insurance and the age of the house make a big difference in your monthly payment. So,
and real quick, just so people know that, like, how big of a difference it can be. I just so happened to land on the line where I pay city and county taxes in Byron, $900 a month.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So $900 a month, goodbye cash flow. Okay. But continue.
Yeah. So, so if you are buying a $200,000 house, just a general rule of thumb is you got your 20% down. And then I always estimate on the higher side. I'm big into transparency when it comes throughout the process. So if someone's coming to me to be like, hey, what's my rate? And that's all they want to know. I'll be honest. I know it's going to go downhill from there, because I'm not going to undercut someone just to get their business.
Yeah.
And so I would rather be completely all out, right off the bat, and then tell them their expected cost. And then when they go to close, like, oh shoot, I'm saving $3,000 to $5,000. I thought it was going to be that much. But So you got 20% down, then you have about 5% for closing costs
Yeah.
on an investment property.
Yeah.
So all in, what is that? 50,000 total.
Yeah. So $50,000 total. If you let's see what Chris April's saying. If you Airbnb a property, would that satisfy the occupied requirements?
Airbnb is just a way to hold that as an investment. The investment loan itself is that completely different than an Airbnb. Now, there are actual loans for Airbnbs and how they calculate the ratios and the numbers on that loan itself. But yeah, say for example, you're buying a house in Florida, and you go and live in that house for 2 weeks out of the year because you're going on vacation. Then yes, that satisfies that, and then you can Airbnb it out the rest of the year. So yeah, you can get a second home, do 10% down on that property, and then Airbnb it the rest of the year.
There we go. And then talking about that, so let's say I'm going around, I'm with Trey, 50 grand in my pocket, being awesome, going to go find my first rental property. Few things to look out for, right? When you buy a new construction house, you are going to be paying more money when it comes down to it. But you have a brand new water heater, brand new HVAC system, you got a brand new roof, your monthly maintenance costs are going to be really low when it comes down to it. And the nice thing is, for rental properties, what are a lot of builders in our local area doing? They are stacking houses on top of each other with no lawns. Maintenance costs is down, all that kind of stuff. Now, do you have to buy new construction when it comes down to it? No, but also you can get help with closing cost money, right? From the seller, potentially if the builder asking for a discount on that to be able to help some of that. Or if you do choose to be able to buy a property that is a little bit older, you need to make sure you take into consideration maintenance and also home improvement costs, right? So does it need a new kitchen? Does it need new flooring? Does it need new paint? And making sure also, guys, by the way, if you want any advice when it comes down to who to choose, just ask, because I've gotten destroyed by everybody and their mom, and I only trust people that I trust now. And the thing is, when you work with a client, okay, somebody that has put their full trust in you with their biggest financial investment of their life, and all of a sudden painters don't show up, and then they have to pay 2 mortgages for a while because they have their property plus an investment. I promise you, if I give you a recommendation, I know we're supposed to give you more than one. I always just say this is who I choose. You can pick whoever you want. That's a really good indicator to just go with the person that I chose. Like I told you, because I most likely got burned by 3, 4, 5 painters in the past, HVAC services, when it comes down to lawn care companies, when it comes down to people that, do renovations, all that kind of stuff. Take into consideration how much that's going to cost long-term over time, because when we start getting into it, we need to break this down. But understand this, when we're looking for homes and we do this, we live in a time where it's slowly becoming a seller's market again due to inventory and prices and everything else. So it's tough when you go to a home and then all of a sudden, okay, I want to put this under contract. I also want enough time to get all of these people out here to give me quotes when they could be receiving another offer. So it's really a good idea to sit down, take a second, come up with your game plan, and then start looking rather than just throwing yourself into this all at once. Real quick, before we finish this out, got another couple questions. Keith says top things to improve property value prior to selling is a good topic. Keith, number one, home appraisal in the local area. Mitch, tell me if I'm wrong. This is what he told me. There's 3 things that really come down to it that can improve your property without spending any money or little money. Number one, curb appeal. When somebody goes to the outside of your house, if the curb appeal outside is bad, they can just keep on driving. When you can have that nice professionally edited photo of the front of the house, drone shot 4K, exactly 10 foot from the curb, it's freaking science, guys, okay? And you get that perfect angle. When somebody drives to the house, it needs to be that representation. If it is, smiles on the face, people are excited, the grass is freshly cut, there's no weeds, flower beds have been done, bushes are trimmed, right? You're building emotion, because a house is worth 2 things: what a buyer's willing to pay and what a bank is willing to loan. And you want to make sure that that buyer's willing to pay full price. Number 2, declutter the home. Stack everything in boxes, put all of your stuff in the garage. People know that you're moving, right? having nothing out. I can't tell you how many times I've been to houses where there's spilt Oreos and milk on the countertop and the person wouldn't buy the house, even though that's not a deal breaker. You can clean that up, but it comes off like the perception that these people are messy. I don't want to buy somebody else's mess. And last but not least, number 3, get a professional deep clean. Do not clean it yourself. We know some really good people in the area. Spend the $500-600 to get it all professionally deep cleaned. And when somebody walks in and it smells like a hospital, you will get more money, you will get more offers, and it will sell faster. Those are my 3 recommendations. And that leads perfectly into the next question. Is remodeling a bathroom a good investment in your home?
I would say yes. And it's going to depend. So
Real
what
quick,
a lot of people think, let me just clarify real quick
Yeah.
though. What a lot of people think is, okay, if I go in here and I renovate this or renovate that, it's not necessarily going to add value to your home.
yeah,
It's going to add desirability. You're going to have an
Exactly.
easier time selling the home whenever you do put it on the market. But as far as that bottom line, you're probably not going to get that money back that you put into that bathroom. Now, if your bathroom is outdated and it needs to be remodeled and you're thinking about selling your home or whatever the case may be, then it might be worth it just to help your home sell, and be more desirable. So, but there are things that do add value to the home. Is a bathroom one of them? Yes, maybe if it's a master bathroom and you go over the top, then maybe you could add a little bit to the value of the home. But overall, it's not really going to add value to the home, just
Yeah.
desirability.
Let's and Keith, to answer your question, like top things to improve property value and dot leach, good investment for your home. Think about this. Do you guys think it's a good idea to spend $30,000 on the kitchen if it improves your home value by $30,000? You break even. You spent all this time and money on contractors, big old headaches, and something could go wrong. It's not worth the time. So that's why, I get so many nasty comments on YouTube sometimes from people that say, why would you tell somebody to paint their walls? It's a horrible investment. Understand this. When a home appraiser goes out to somebody's house, they spend, if they're a good appraiser, 2 to 3 hours in the home. They go and they make a professional report that takes 3, 4, typically 5 business days. And what they do is they compare your home to somebody else's, most likely 3, 4, 5 houses, all within a half-mile radius in the same neighborhood. And what they do is they don't just say, oh, these were both built in 1980, they're the square foot, they're the lot size. Those are considerations in bedrooms and bathrooms and garage space. But what people fail to realize is a appraiser goes into a home, looks at the different kitchens and says, does this kitchen bring value to the neighborhood? Does this bathroom remodel bring value to the neighborhood? Because what's happening is your home is being compared to the homes in the local area. So it's really a 2-front. Does the stuff that I'm making in my home, number 1, does it increase the actual value of my home? And number 2, can I get a buyer to pay me that new value? Because if you renovate the bathroom and paint the walls and do new flooring and do all these updates, but you can't get somebody to pay you the money, or you can't get the media coverage, which we like to say, we believe that we're a media company that just so happens to sell real estate. You can't get the buyers in the door to actually find the property because all it is on Zillow, but you're not running ads or you're not doing professional video or you're not showcasing that off. You're not going to get the money for it. So when it comes down to what are the best things to add value to your property, what are the best renovations? It really depends, and I know people hate this answer, on your home specifically in your neighborhood. Because if you're selling a home, my house was built in 2022 or 2023. I think it was 22. If I were to do renovations or do something, all I would have to do is have somebody come back, do touch-up paint, do, a few minor fixes, professionally deep clean the house, do a little bit of curb appeal, declutter, bam, done, house is on the market. But if your home was built in 2010 and your kitchen's a little bit outdated and you still have carpet in your home and stuff like that, you could probably get away with a professional deep clean, declutter, paint the cabinets, keep everything the same, tear the carpet up, do, a good LVP, and then, make $10, $15, $20,000 based off how much money that you spent. So it really just comes down to that. And you really do have to get that professional advice. I wish it was as easy as watching a YouTube video of fixer upper, and then all of a sudden you know exactly what to do. But we take the time to do a professional comparable market analysis, go in depth of how an actual appraiser does, and then give you the advice. Because I pretend that your house is my house. Ain't no way I'm making you spend $20,000, $30,000 if you're not making extra money. If you're going to break even, we're just going to list that house as is, and you're going to make the same amount of money, have way less headache, and get that thing sold quick.
And I think another thing that people don't realize is an appraiser doesn't just take a home that's built in the same year and has the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms and compare them. He literally adds and subtracts from those comparable properties to make it like your property. So basically what I'm saying is, let's say the house that you're comparing it to has a pool. Well, he's got to take that away from that home to make it like yours because yours doesn't have a pool. And that's what they do throughout the house. They go through, they compare, they add and subtract from comparable properties to come up with a value for your home.
Exactly. And one last thing, just off the top of my head, because I'm always looking at data, 88% of home buyers want a move-in ready house. But the problem is they're looking at homes that aren't brand new. Move-in ready homes indicate that they're move-in ready. And they come in with this false expectation that everything needs to be brand new. There's no scuffs. There's no wear and tear. There's no cosmetic issues. And now we're left with 12%. So when it comes down to it for home sellers, you have to realize that you are going to be targeting 12% of the market if you don't do these updates. So in reality, if you don't have an amazing, amazing marketing plan, you're not going to get as much money out of it. Will it sell? Yes, it'll eventually sell. But how much will it sell for? That's the key question.
That goes back to your piece about desirability, right? So like if someone's, desiring the property and you do something that is so-called a remodel on your house that increases that desirability, you're not maybe increasing your return on investment of the remodel itself. But if someone, say a cash offer comes in and is like, hey, I want it, and they don't even get it appraised and that, you're getting more, then hey, you got your return on investment right there.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, there we go. We keep having people trickle in. We'll do one final question before we hop off. I'm not going to lie. I knew we were doing this at 7. I told Trey at 2:00, get ready. We're going to talk about investing in real estate. I no joke, finished up some college work, drank pre-workout, and Trey texted me at 6:52 saying, hey, are you on live yet? I was driving to the gym. So I'm hyped up on pre. I got enough in me for one more question.
Oh, man.
Do you even go to the gym, bro?
I turned around. I'm like, crap.
Do you even lift?
No, I wish.
No, you can't. You can't tell.
Man. There we go. Ask anything that you like. Preferably, when it comes to real estate investing, and also any recommendations for any videos that we can jam out, on here. So I think it'd be cool to kind of have some kind of structure going and try to make these not boring, or just name it boring real estate talk. Because I feel real bad. Because if I joined a live, it's been going on for an hour and 8 minutes, and there's a bunch of people in here. I don't freaking know, dude. You know what I mean? Because the only reason we create YouTube videos is to get a perspective on screen to show what it looks like to live in Middle Georgia, and then to help everybody that watches. I mean, I promise you, for the amount of money that I spend on filming and the time that it takes and the editing and everything else, like I do not make any money by putting videos on the internet. Like this is solely for the value of our clients. And the majority of my videos, I literally just shoot to our clients that are having problems. And instead of like having to meet up or jam out and stuff like that, of course, I still love doing that. Love, if you guys want to go out to dinner, grab some food, grab coffee, go to church with me on Sunday mornings, anything, all about it. But also I understand this 2024 and sometimes you just want a video and be left alone, So any final takers before we sign off? I'll let it jam out for the next 60 seconds and then we can end it, boys.
Sounds good to me.
And I see that there's viewers in here. I just don't know their names. I wish there were. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you see that? You had the live up too?
Yeah.
YouTube?
Oh no, I don't. This StreamYard thing's kind of weird. It just tells me how many people are in and how long we've been going for. Final thoughts when it comes down to it. Us boys get together on Monday mornings at 7:30 if anybody wants to join us for a Bible study. It's us three right now, but if anybody else wants to join, we're just going through First John. And understand that we're more than just real estate agents. We like playing pickleball. These guys like playing golf. We're real people that eat real good food like barbecue. So if anybody ever wants to hang out, jam out, do anything, buy houses, invest, sell,
That's it.
hit a pickleball.
Yeah, hit us
Hit
up.
us up. Oh yeah. But I guess that is the end of the program.
All right,
Appreciate you
fellas.
guys. I'm gonna go smash my legs and waddle for the next few days.
All right, until next Thursday.
And
Take more
oh,
pre.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I might have to take another scoop. But I'll see you boys in the morning.
All right, bro.
Hey, yeah. See you.
Later.